So I just want to give a clap to somebody on the podcast. As you can
At the
see,
beginning?
yeah, why not?
Wow.
Why not? It's our podcast. As you can see, some of us have been to the hairdresser and some of us been to the barbers. And some
Oh,
of us
yeah.
haven't. But I just want to give a clap to Lyndon, LGK Music. Look at the precision.
Look at that.
Precision.
Do you know my uncle does kilo clap? So he'll clap for people in threes like this. Lyndon. Haircut. Lovely. Uncle Peterson, that's a shout out for you.
I've never heard that. What's it called?
I think it's called the kilo clap.
Kilo
Please,
clap.
East African community in Reading particularly, can you let me know if it's the kilo clap?
I love it.
I thought I didn't do it justice.
It's been 4 months. It needs to be done. And I'm going again on Thursday. So
You're going again?
I'm going every week.
Wow.
Do you want edges? Do you want to...
Some of us can't even find appointments with the hairdressers.
Why do you need to go every week?
I've
Why?
already booked it.
Raw.
To stay sharp, innit?
Stay sharp. Stay sharp. So you don't have to get sharp, Angela. That's what it
I
is.
mean, I don't understand the dissent around here about me going to the barbers again. I'm going again next week.
But what is there to cut every week? Or does your hair grow that
By
fast?
Thursday, it will not be as sharp as it was on Tuesday.
Okay.
I want it that sharp.
Live
again.
your best life. Live your best life.
Why not?
Why not?
Just don't be that person that goes to get your haircut all the time and you end up like this.
You know what hair like me? Jesus.
What a lovely segue. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus did.
Lyndon, you sent us a link to icons of the Bible art. And it had all these, I think it was really nice actually. You sent us, I wonder if you can put some of these pictures up when we put up the video.
I'll put them up.
But basically, all these Bible characters, Gabriel, Michael, Bathsheba, Boaz, Cain and Abel, everybody and their uncles as black men.
We love to see it.
I love to see it. And also we know that it is actually most likely how they looked.
There's black women here as well.
And black women as well, I know.
So
True.
uncles
I said
and
Bathsheba as well.
uncles and aunties.
Yeah. But everybody and their uncles and their aunties. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then and you sent the Holy Spirit one. You guys were talking about the picture of the Holy Spirit.
What picture of the Holy Spirit?
Did you not speak about that?
No.
Oh, different chat. So,
Can I just say something? One of these pictures, Lyndon, I'm sure you're going to put it up, is of Boaz. And I know somebody who put up a picture of Boaz this week on their Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. And then somebody wrote underneath it, raw, he's fine. Is he looking for a Ruth? And I said, I have had enough of people.
People have they don't know end. Like
It's 2020. Everyone's trying to shoot their shot. They don't care.
with historical biblical figures. I'm just here to tell you that unfortunately, unless you're talking about it just like, I don't know, it's figuratively the word I'm looking for. Boaz isn't looking for a wife. Anyway, so it was really nice to see. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. I've seen pictures of Black Jesus.
Never ever.
No, I've seen pictures of Black Jesus.
Malima's got a beautiful picture of an angel and a black angel with like amazing, like a Bantu, not like twist out, whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think I've come across like pictures of like Black Jesus and Black angels and stuff like that. But in terms of like the detail to have every single character that they've included here as black is something nice to see.
Yeah, and it's important to see because we've never seen anything like that growing up. All the videos, all the pictures, all the Sabbath school quarterlies that we saw, all the people inside it were... I mean, they try and say they're Middle Eastern now, but let's be real, they were white people with long beards. Sorry. But I think it's about time that we as black people have a real conversation into why our religion has been whitewashed and show a bit of evidence that what we believe to be the case is not actually the case.
Why do you think that they have never really included black people, or all of the traditional biblical illustrations do not include black people?
Well, then it will step over their idea of justifying slavery and justifying the treatment of black people.
When we say they, who exactly are we talking about?
White people. We talk about white people. We talk about white folk.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And those especially who spread the gospel, they initially tried to spread the gospel from the West to the rest of the world. Because obviously the gospel was not in the West before. But that last wave of spreading the gospel from the West, and also other things like slavery, colonialism, everything, all of that in a package, that bundle. They decided that, yeah.
So just so I understand it, you're saying that Christianity and all things biblical started in the East, and then obviously there were the Dark Ages and nobody in the West really knew what was going on. Then they got the gospel and then they decided to just go all the way back to the East and colonize, rape, steal, kill, whatever. Is that what we're saying?
Well, it's more complicated than that. So if we're talking about the state of Europe in the Dark Ages, I mean, it was the Dark Ages, it was a very bad time. But after that, they went around and, in fact, during the Middle Ages, they went around fighting Muslims with a cross on their chest, saying that they're fighting for Jesus, but really they're not. They're just fighting these people because they want to take over their country. So in that sense, religion has been used by white supremacists as a tool to conquer everyone. That's how it's been for hundreds and hundreds of years. So obviously this God that they say they serve has to be white. And if they're going to conquer everyone and say, we're white, we're better than you, and the God that we serve and the God that you have to serve is also...
I think, and I think it's important to say that this has nothing to do with religion as or believing in God as a bad thing. I think that it provides a good vehicle for whatever you're trying to spread. So if you're trying to spread hate, religion is a great vehicle for that, and you can choose and you can use it to do what and bring about what you want, because you're kind of calling on like a higher power that can make people think or do things that they probably wouldn't have taken if you had said it's just coming from another person. Also, like even saying that you have to, the white people saying that you have to serve our God and he's white, I think it also like cements the idea for them that, or even in the eyes of the people who weren't white, that whiteness is close to godliness.
Absolutely.
Because God is white. And the further away I look, the more English.
The further
away I am
from God's
the way I look from what God looks like is the further away I am from God, or what godliness looks like. Like it really is that simple. So yeah.
This guy, is it I think his name is Dr. I don't want to misquote him. Hold on a minute. Dr. Theron Williams. Wait. Yeah, Dr. Theron Williams, he said exactly the same thing. So he wrote a book, and his book is entitled The Bible is Black. So this is a YouTube video that I watched it was published last year, and he said actually...
He says the Bible is Black history.
Sorry, the Bible is Black history. And he was saying that actually it's important for Black people to recognize that they are part of the salvation story. So it's not that, Jesus was white and I'm Black, and thank God for Jesus and I now have salvation. It's actually Jesus was Black, I am represented in him, and I am part of the salvation story. So actually, it's really important for people to see themselves replicating something, especially when you happen to be a Black person who's had to endure 300 years of slavery. Do you know what I mean? Or 400 years of slavery. And I think that's a really important point to make, because I think people throw around the term representation matters when we're talking about having representation in media, representation in business and lots of different things. But when we're talking about religion, which is something that is at the heart of like a lot of different communities and is a guiding force and might be the source of your moral compass, if you are so far away from the salvation, that might impact you. It may not, but I would argue that it probably does in a subconscious or an unconscious level. But the fact of the matter is, actually, lots of things that I think I have been told consciously and it's been portrayed to me that Christ looks nothing like me, it's actually all a lie. Like actually Jesus looked just like me and he had hair like Lyndon. And that's really important to tell people and to reiterate, because it makes you feel closer to the story of salvation, in my opinion.
It's true, and it definitely does impact Black people because I think if you're not represented, or you don't think God or Jesus, let's not say God, but Jesus look like you sometimes can get confused, or you might even start to feel like the gospel and Jesus came to save you not only from sin but from your blackness that can sometimes be looked as part of a sinful culture or sin itself.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing that actually people in the Bible were black, that doesn't become separate to the gospel. Like it doesn't become like, oh, this is what's all good and right and godly, and then everything else is sin and badness, and my blackness falls in that because I can't actually see it represented in any of in the Bible story. So I think that's definitely true. Like seeing yourself in the Bible should kind of like mentally you can start associating or disassociating your blackness as something that you need to be safe from, or as something that is anything other than what God wants you to be, or what God has created, or is something that's good. Yeah.
I think what's important though is it doesn't actually matter if Jesus was black or not. It doesn't actually matter, right? But what does matter is the fact that somebody made us believe he was one thing that he actually wasn't. That's what matters.
Yeah,
if he
that's
was
true.
white and he actually was white, fair enough.
Amazing.
But the fact that he wasn't white,
Yeah.
and we've been led to believe that he's white, even to this day, what you'll find people say, oh, he's Middle Eastern. That's not even correct either.
Yeah.
Really.
And why are people so happy to say that he was Middle Eastern? Or
Because-
why are we so happy to accept that, oh, but Jesus was Mediterranean? But when Jesus
Mediterranean.
was... Yeah. People say, I've heard that when I was a child, Mediterranean, or Jesus was Middle Eastern, or even they'll say, he was like North African, so maybe he looked like he was Algerian, or maybe he looked like he was Moroccan.
Yeah, so
But
those people don't understand history.
But not everybody, but there seems to be a real running away from the fact that Jesus actually was black and his skin was darker and his hair was afro. Like I don't understand why people are so scared to go there.
People will be so shocked when he comes back and they'll be like, Jesus, that can't be you. That can't be you.
The thing is that comes from ignorance. So most people don't understand that. If you look back in history, Arabs didn't start coming to the Middle East, like the Arab area and North Africa and Northeast Africa until maybe the 6th century, right? Jesus was obviously 6th century, so Jesus was around 600 years before that. Right before they came down, the people that were in that area, you got to remember, that place is very hot. It's very, very hot, right? And they weren't wrapped up as they are wrapped up now, right? The reason what am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Oh, this is what I'm trying to say. Right. So, okay. For example, I went to Egypt, right, for in 2015. And it's the hottest place that I've been to in my entire life. And I've been to Jamaica. It's the hottest place I've been to in my entire life, right? There's no way that people of lighter skin survived there for thousands of years. Not a chance.
It's not possible.
You have to be not just a little bit melanated. You have to be dark skin to deal with that level of sun, right? And that's Egypt. That's right next to Arabia, right? It's right next to Saudi Arabia. So all that area, people were actually dark skin. You have to be. Later on, people came down and conquered it, but definitely in Jesus' time, those people were dark skin. Simple.
But the question is why is not history, but why are representations of Jesus why are they more comfortable with Jesus being represented as Middle Eastern? Because if you're a real historian, like you just said, you understand that's not accurate.
Not even real historians really accept that anyway. They don't really talk. They don't talk about it. That's what I'm saying. They don't talk about it. There's a massive gap in history around 600 AD to maybe 1000 AD, where people don't really speak about what was going on at that time. 400 years, maybe 600 years, people don't really talk about. No one really talks about what happened there. Somebody knows somewhere, but in a general conversation, it's not included. I think people have been brought up with an idea of what biblical people look like, and anything different is very uncomfortable for them. What's important is the fact if you're a black person, you've grown up and you've seen in school all the things that white people have done in history, and you don't see yourself at any point in any history, right? So it doesn't really matter what the color of the people of the Bible are, but it does matter if black people, if you've never seen yourself in anything. And that's why it's important to see the representation, so black people feel like they're a part of this earth before slavery. All right, so this part of the podcast, we're going to talk about things that
I thought you said we don't introduce our topics.
We're going to talk about...
Where they do that?
And we're not
where they do that? Because you told us we can't do that.
I don't want to have that kind of podcast.
He
I'm
said,
just going to stop
"Why are you
talking.
talking to the camera? Why are you introducing the section? That's not what we
And
do
I'm
here.
not allowed to look at the
It's
camera.
not a show."
But you know, Linda looks at the camera every time he looks up, and I'm not allowed to look at the camera.
Yeah. So every time he looks at us, he gets vexed.
No, don't do that face.
Are you guys
thing,
finished?
because everyone seems to
I
think you're
think so.
hard
Let me
done
think.
by.
Have I said everything? Yeah, I think I've said everything I want to say right now.
I just wanted to warn people that because I don't know the specific makeup of our audience, right? Because not all of them are going to be Christians. A lot of them will be, but some of them might not. What we're going to talk about right now is pertains to the Bible quite strongly. If you don't believe anything in the Bible, then this part might be.
Oh, I thought what you were doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
You might not care about what we're about to say, but we're going to say it anyway. Right. So, like I said, when I was a child, everyone in the Bible was depicted as white. Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, David, all of them. We saw them as white. We saw them on films as white people.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, Eve.
Adam and Eve. That's
Everybody.
the big one. Everybody is white. I'm just here to say.
Do you know he was black?
Who?
Sometimes the devil.
And
In what? In where?
He wasn't always white.
When was it? When
devil's
was the
red.
devil?
I thought.
What?
I'm just saying.
No,
When I was a
that's
child,
Disney character.
No, when I was a child and I used to read to have colouring books or whatever, the devil was like red. He also had two horns, which obviously is ridiculous.
Maybe he wasn't black. Maybe he was just cloaked in darkness and he looked like he was.
Right. Okay. I haven't seen this black devil yet.
Also,
But they do say black
the
devil.
only black person wasn't the black person
Ethiopian?
Yeah, the Ethiopian.
Yeah.
The
In the New-
Ethiopian. Which one?
The only
eunuch.
one
Yeah.
in the New Testament.
eunuch.
Because
Yeah.
they couldn't
The
detach
only
it.
Ethiopian.
No, the only Ethiopian mentioned in the New Testament.
The only
in the
Ethiopian
New Testament.
In the New Testament.
openly mentioned as Ethiopian. Oh, openly.
Yeah, there were obviously lots, but the one who is referred to as the Ethiopian.
Okay, because there's Ethiopians mentioned in the Old Testament quite a lot. But
Okay.
Fine. I don't know if that's the only
Bible
Ethiopian.
scholar.
I think it's the only Ethiopian mentioned as that noun in the New Testament. But you know what, Lyndon? As you're always right, we can fact check
No,
it.
definitely not. If you're just saying talk about the New Testament,
Only the New Testament.
you might be right, but definitely not in the Old Testament because I'm going to talk about people who were Ethiopian in the Old Testament.
I'm
Why
going to take
why
that.
didn't we bring our Bibles today? We came to speak
I
about
told you guys
Jesus with
to
no
do-
Bible.
I told you guys to
My
do
Bible was
your
written
research.
on my heart. What do
Your
you mean?
phone is open to WhatsApp and you're talking about other stuff. So
My Bible's written on my heart.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And it's on my phone.
Okay, so I'm going to run through some very key people and show you either the fact that they're definitely black or that they were very close to being with black people or had black children, right?
Have you got receipts?
Oh, yeah.
So everybody take out your notepads.
Well, I mean, okay, we can
are you
start
chapter versing
we
it?
can start from the beginning, right? We can start from Adam and Eve. And obviously this is not in the Bible because obviously their color wasn't mentioned in the Bible. But it's commonly known that life as we know it came from Africa. Why would Adam and Eve be white? If they were real people, how would they be white? They have to be African, specifically East African.
Here we go.
That's what I had to say
I
about
thought you
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
So that's Adam and Eve, but
Chile.
that's neither here or there because obviously as Christians we believe that there was a flood and after the flood there was 8 people. So we're talking about one family producing people that end up being in the entire world. So we're starting with Noah. I don't know what Noah was, but I know he had 3 sons who populated the whole world, right? So Ham is kind of known as the guy that gave birth to all the African people. So Ethiopians, Cushites, Egyptians, Libyans, all those people. Japheth, he was the father of all the European people. And then Shem, who's the father of all the Hebrews and Arabs and such, right? So we go further down and we find Abraham, who was a Semite. So he's a son of Shem. But when Abraham was called, he was called from Ur. Ur was in Babylon at the time. Babylon was started by Nimrod. Nimrod was a Cushite. Cushite was from Ham. Ham is African, so it was around African people. So Abraham was around them, right? Further down, we go to Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons. He had them with 4 different women, Leah, Rachel, and Zilpah and Bilhah, right? They were I think they called them concubines in the Bible.
But they were the maids.
Yeah,
I
the
think.
handmaids.
Yeah, handmaids. Apparently, they were both Egyptian. So
Really?
yeah. So that accounts for at least 4 of the tribes. Then we go to Joseph, who went to Egypt, became quite prominent in Egypt. He married an Egyptian woman, Asenath, and her name is mentioned in the Bible in Genesis.
I actually quite like that name.
Asen what?
Asenath.
Asenath.
Asnath. Oh, I know someone called Asnath.
No way.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
But we pronounce it Asnath.
Raw.
That's why, yeah, I know someone called Asnath.
See? East Africa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we got Asenath, who's Egyptian. So obviously that means Joseph and Asenath had children who were Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim and Manasseh then became tribes in their own right. So at the very least, and this is at the very least, they were half black. At the very, very least. And I feel like Joseph was probably black as well anyway, but that's neither here or there either. We go further down to Moses. Moses married Zipporah, who was also black. She was Midianite, who was a Cushite. So you go down the Bible and you've seen people that are marrying black people kind of all the time. You go further down to Ruth. Ruth was a Moabite. Moabite, also Cushite. And then she married into the Israelites. David did a thing with Bathsheba. Bathsheba was also black.
Not a ting.
Not a ting, girl.
Lyndon.
I mean, she was a bit,
Take it back. Start again, sir. David.
What?
No.
What?
We're going to put some respect on her name.
All right, we'll put some respect on Bathsheba's
Bathsheba
name.
was a full wife, and if anything, David was a ting.
High five. Yes.
Was she not already married?
Yeah,
Just continue, please, sir.
Wasn't Jada? Stop her.
Oh.
All right, let's go back. Sorry.
Right, okay, so we got David and Bathsheba, who had Solomon. Solomon, who was the wisest man ever, king of
Wiser
Israel.
than you?
But also, I remember as a child, the one person who they told us was definitely black was Solomon for some reason.
Really?
I didn't know that.
I also was black, but
I
that's only
always
because
grew
of
up knowing that
DreamWorks.
Solomon was black.
DreamWorks are not. I'm
DreamWorks,
sorry.
Solomon.
DreamWorks.
No, Zipporah. I
DreamWorks
knew
are
Zipporah
not-
was black because of DreamWorks.
So there's people that I know I've always known were black in the Bible. There's Zipporah and Solomon.
Really?
And
Who
literally
told you that
that's it.
Zipporah was black?
Somebody when I was a
DreamWorks.
child.
DreamWorks
No,
should not
it was
be
before.
cited.
It was before that.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I saw her as black as on Prince of Egypt, I was like, yeah, of course
She was
Prince
gorgeous.
of Egypt shouldn't be
She
used as a
was-
citation, by the way.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. She was nice. She could dance and she could sing and she could dance.
So I've gone down the line of Israelites, right, and I've seen them marrying black people.
Right.
Can
At
I
the
ask you a
very least.
question? How do you know that Solomon? Who told you that Solomon was black? Because every
My dad
picture.
probably told me.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, I just wanted
So,
to know.
uh,
I wanted to know if I missed something.
He just I don't know how he knew and how they knew, but that's what I believed as a child anyway.
Oh, okay.
But going back, it makes sense.
I think you're very unique in that
Yeah,
sense.
I
Because
would
I
be told
always,
that.
as every time I saw Solomon, in my head he was white. Sorry. Okay, go back to what you're saying.
Because at least there was somebody in the Bible that I thought was black, and he was very clever, so I thought made me feel good. Anyway,
Did he remind you of yourself?
I love it. High five. Yes. Let's see how many we can get in.
But Lyndon, you are very smart and you are black, so hello.
Yeah.
What was Solomon? An Israelite, obviously. I was gonna say, yeah, that's the Israelite blood in you. Yeah. I actually said today I'm going to be a very serious candidate, and this is not the road I'm going.
Friend that went out the window a long time
Let's
ago.
come back.
You know
Sorry,
what?
sorry, sorry.
The joke is actually never mind. Right.
No, tell us a joke.
One time I did pray, Lord, can you make me as wise as Solomon?
Oh, look at God. You better walk in your blessing. Well, how do you ask God for something and he gives it to you at least in part, and you and then you don't give him praise and all the glory?
You
all the
better
glory and
give
the
him,
honor.
To be honest, though, on a very serious level, I think that's an important thing to ask for. Why should you not ask for to be
Exactly.
as wise as
Well,
Solomon?
I did ask
Yeah.
for it. Anyway, so where was I? Right. So I've spoken about people who married definite Hamites, definite black African people in the Bible, right? But then the other question is, were these people also black themselves? So Moses, he was, when he went in the wilderness after he killed that guy in Egypt, when he went to the well and saw Zipporah's family said that he was an Egyptian. They looked at him and thought, that's an Egyptian person, right? Egyptian people, like I said before, were definitely black people, very, very black people. So you wouldn't mistake someone who was very white for being Egyptian.
Even go back, he grew up in the royal household,
palace.
In the household,
and in the palace, and no one ever really knew that he was anything other than
he
Egyptian.
passed or he blended in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they, but then the thing is though, I don't know, because a lot of our knowledge comes from DreamWorks, unfortunately.
Not mine.
So we feel like that he
DreamWorks.
thought he was Egyptian, and people thought he was Egyptian as well. Where I've read books where they knew that he was Hebrew. So
I think they were-
Did his brother know?
Ramesses. Well, then Ramesses, but then that relationship is not in the Bible, so we don't know.
I didn't.
I've got
DreamWorks.
books there that speaks to Ramesses and Moses. First of all, it doesn't show him as being brothers, so it's different. But it shows that people knew that he was Hebrew.
I think they did know he was Hebrew, and it sounds like potentially he blended in. So he didn't look like completely out of, I don't know, like out of ordinary. However, they probably looked at him and thought, oh, he looks quite different. Or maybe there were like distinguishing things about him that are like, oh, actually, that's not really, I don't know, whatever the case may be. However, he was obviously, like, Egyptians at that time obviously didn't look like how Egyptians were depicted by DreamWorks. Not that I've seen Prince of Egypt. Because he was able to blend in.
Yeah, Joseph obviously was able to blend in as well because he did quite well for himself in the end and brought his whole family down to Egypt. Also, like I said, I married a lot of black people. So 70 Hebrews apparently entered Egypt. 1 million left. So you really think they were just marrying themselves, or were they just mixed up with Egyptian blood? And that very blood is the Hebrews. I mean, it'd be stupid to think that they went into Egypt, came out white again.
It's stupid, but it's also, what's the word? That is literally the epitome of whitewashing. Like, that's the epitome of whitewashing something. Doesn't make sense, and it's not accurate, so it's a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for the rundown, but can I ask a question? Given that I haven't seen Prince of Egypt...
Which is a real problem we need to talk about.
I'm not convinced, actually, because you guys are the ones talking about Prince of Egypt. And so the question that I have is, in the Prince of Egypt, you guys talk about the relationships between, like, Moses and Ramses, yeah? And, like, the Hebrews and the Egyptians. Well, how are they depicted? What do they look like?
Everybody's white.
Everyone's white.
No, not particularly. 'Cause actually, there are some that they put a few little dark-skinned people in there in the Hebrews.
Well, as the general, like.
And what positions do they
As in
hold?
the congregation of Hebrews.
Yeah.
So they
put a few in there, but I knew that I don't expect Hollywood to be first of all to do their research that deep into Hebrews and find out what color they are, because it's Jewish people doing it. Because you got to remember, this DreamWorks is run by Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg, who are definitely Jewish, right? I'm not sure if David Geffen is, but I think he might be. But in any case, it's a Jewish company. These people are talking about what they feel like is their heritage. So it's going to be difficult for them to put Moses up there and put him as black. But in the early parts of the film, Moses and Ramses looked very similar. They looked like they were the same color, just like a little bit tanned. Then you went in and saw the Egyptian pharaoh and Ramses' mom, and they're definitely black people, especially the mom. They're like,
oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
See, I put that in the PowerPoint presentation.
Sorry, I was reading it when I was here. Did ask Andrew if she read it.
I did read it. Can you read the pictures? No, but I did skim through everything.
I was sitting
and
there
I
doing
read
it.
the bullet points.
So do you see do you see it on your phone?
See.
So you see there?
Me.
That's Ramses' mom.
So I didn't know
And
that,
here
because I haven't
that's
seen
the woman that Joseph marries and their family.
So I didn't
And that's
recognize that
Zipporah,
because I ain't
right.
seen it.
And the other one was just
Can I see?
You've seen it because you've seen
because you've
Prince
seen
of
the
Egypt.
film.
Oh,
Have you
yes.
seen Joseph, King of Dreams as well?
Yes, I have, but I haven't seen it as many times. Yeah.
It blew my mind even just to see that film and see the Egyptians being shown as black people. That's the first time I saw that. I've never seen that before, apart from Michael Jackson's video.
I wonder why DreamWorks decided to showcase the Egyptians as black people, because everything in a film is deliberate, right? So I wonder why they did it.
I wonder why. I don't know why, because when you go back to other films, doing films after that, they went back to showing Egyptians as white again.
I think when they're showing Egyptians as intelligent people in a nation who have given so much or given so much or contributed so much to what we know about like science and maths and whatever. They show them as white. If they're showing them as people who were evil, who are holding the Hebrew people and they weren't letting them free, they show them as black.
I also wonder if it's because they're women and they're meant to be seen as exotic. Like, is there anything around that?
Maybe.
Yeah, so there wasn't really any black men as such. Well, I think Seti, Ramses' father was actually a black man, so maybe not that. But yeah, they're very comfortable putting black women in there. Maybe that's it. But then also, I was just gonna say, apart from that, because I saw another film, I can't remember what it's called. It's really bad. It's a terrible film. Was it? It's not Gods and Kings, because there's Exodus, Gods and Kings, and there's another one that came out in the same time. With Gerard Butler's in it and
I don't know.
Nikolai Costa. But anyway, Chadwick Boseman's in it, and he's one of the. So it's the one where they're showing Egyptian gods. There's one black god though, and that's Chadwick Boseman. He's
Gods of Egypt.
Yeah, Gods of Egypt, and he's, I don't know how to pronounce it actually. THOTH.
THOTH.
Soth. But yeah, so he's like the token. Yeah,
Can I ask what he does? Like, what kind of god is he?
Thoth he's like the clever one. He's literally the smart one.
Oh yeah.
He's the one with the writing and he's the clever one. But yeah. Yeah, it's something I know. Yeah, so it's something I noticed with Prince of Egypt, the film. I noticed that as the film goes, they start off right, kind of like the same kind of skin tone, but then as the film progresses, Moses gets lighter skinned and Ramses gets darker skinned. It was actually
Moses gets lighter.
Moses gets lighter
as he gets closer to God and he remembers his roots.
And then Ramses gets darker the more angry he gets. So yeah, it's a bit mad. It's the maddest part is when Moses takes off the Egyptian wig and you see this little ruffled up white person hair. That part really frustrated me in the film, to be honest with you. It really frustrated me, but I got over it.
You were frustrated when you watched it when you were a kid?
Yes.
I can imagine that.
I believe that too.
I believe it.
Why?
About you when you were frustrated?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, Lyndon, you've got so much knowledge and you're carrying the weight of the world around on your shoulders.
I just believe it because I believe it.
No, but to be honest,
I believe it
if I'd watched it and I was a kid, I'm sensitive to those things. I would have been like, why is that like that?
Do you not remember that part where he took off his wig?
Yeah, but I think I was just watching it for what it is.
I'm just watching it like, la la la, the song.
Yeah.
You're watching it for
in
this
the background,
accurate.
this is like...
Or do the soundtrack in your head at all times, please.
Oh no, that's changed, you know. Quarantine dulled it.
Oh, by the way, Zipporah might have been very dark skinned, but her hair was very flowy.
It was dreadlocky.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
Prince of Egypt?
Oh, in my head it was dreadlocks.
I'm glad that you saw that, but I didn't see that. I saw
it was flowy.
Yeah, I saw.
But she had little ribbons.
She could have been dark
skinned
skinned with flowing hair. Could be.
Mm-hmm.
There are dark skinned women who've got long flowy hair. Stephanie, is that not correct?
She doesn't believe you. No.
Does she not?
No.
I believe me. It's okay. Yeah, that can happen.
Well, okay, when I say flowy hair, I mean they had European grade hair.
Okay, that's not what I thought you meant.
That's what I'm
Okay,
talking about.
that's a bit different.
Yeah.
Have we covered everything in our episode, Lindsay? That was really insightful.
Very.
I'm being serious.
That's what I said. I felt like.
Are you going to give us more of these kind of teacher TED Talks?
Maybe. All right.
If Jesus had been portrayed as black, what do you think the impact would have been, especially on the black society?
Well, it makes it difficult to treat black people badly. It makes it difficult for most of the white people's minds to justify what happened for hundreds of years. That's the main issue that we're dealing with here. The classifications of race is newish. Like only the 1800s is when they started to say, okay, we've got Caucasoids here, Mongoloids here, Negroids here, that kind of stuff. That stuff is actually quite new. So everything there is just to help them.
And didn't that classification come from the church?
No.
Where did it come from?
Johann F. Blumenbach was the first person.
Come with the knowledge.
It's the Johann F.
What was the purpose behind his classification?
So he's the first to divide humanity on the basis of skin color. So he's the one that said that white people come from the Caucasus Mountains. Was actually a stupid thing to say because the Caucasus Mountains is pretty much Western Asia. But anyway, right. See, he started that. He said the Caucasians are white, Malay people are brown. So he's talking about people that are parts of Southeast Asia and in Central Asia. He talks about the red people, so the Native American people, the yellow people being the Chinese people, and the black people being Negroid, right? So he started with that, and that was used to. He was obviously a white supremacist, and I think he used examples of skulls, and he tried to explain that black people's skulls were inferior to white skulls and that kind of stuff. So that kind of science started in the 1800s. And I think I have also heard, I'm not sure about this, I haven't really checked it out, but I think in 1492, I think the call came from Rome to treat black people a certain way. I think the call came from there. So obviously the conspiracy has to kind of
so when we say
start from
Rome,
there. They're the seat of the church.
Just to be clear, are we talking about
The Vatican.
the Vatican
the
as
papacy,
an institution?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're the seat of the church. So they're saying it's okay to treat black people this way. So they've got to make sure that their religion kind of shows that.
Yeah, of course, it has to reflect who they think is, I guess, superior.
Yeah.
I always think, like it's very simple, but I always think to myself, there's got to be something wrong with your theology or philosophy or ideology. Wow, all those. There's got to be something wrong if you need to put somebody down to elevate yourself.
Yeah.
Like if that's the foundation of anything that you're doing, you need to start again.
Do you know it's so funny? As you're speaking, I remembered somewhere someone saying to me that black people come from Cain.
Yeah.
And you know how he was like sent away when he killed Abel, and they tattooed. They said that him and his descendants will be tattooed, so wherever they meet him, marked. So wherever they meet him, they will know it's him, and they say that was where the black people. That was the mark that they get.
So these people don't know that the flood happened. Everyone who came from Cain
died
in the flood. So everyone comes from Noah.
It's mad. It's actually mad when you think about it.
It comes from Seth.
But I think it's also a place of like privilege. So like it just kind of goes back to like everything. And for me, I think life is very simple actually. Like there's pockets of grey. But if you are like attending a religion that caters to you and looks like you and only reflects you, you never have to think about anything else. You never have to consider anybody else who then becomes a Christian who looks nothing like the depiction of Jesus and any other person in the Bible, or like doesn't reflect like the angels or the voice of God that's seen like in Hollywood, or like the things that are reinforced in your Sabbath school literature, your Sunday school literature. You never have to think about that because you are on the position of privilege. You don't have to consider things.
Do you know how mad that is? That actually the Jews were told to include the Gentiles, and some of them being Romans, who I don't think there's any question that we think that Romans were white, and then to flip.
Well, are Italians that white?
Well, I mean, they were black?
Mediterranean,
yeah.
They're not the same as Scandinavian people.
No.
But yet
and
Jesus
then
portrayed as Scandinavian many a time.
Oh, with this.
Exactly.
And I don't understand why.
In a Somerset
Jesus
forest.
is not Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Where has that come from?
Jesus is not Scandinavian. Jesus is not of Viking descent. Jesus is not in the forest in Somerset.
Yeah.
Like I've seen so many times where he's sitting next to a deer and there's like trees and stuff like that and foliage that you wouldn't really find in any of the places that he was.
I'm going to need all the creators out there who are making anything to do with the Bible. No, they make anything to do with history. Please do your history and ensure that Jesus and the disciples don't look like Vikings.
Do you know what's so funny? But you can see that how the people felt like it was important, the importance they put on making sure that the people who the religion was for initially, they thought the religion saw themselves represented in the Bible. You can see because they didn't even care, let alone not to lie, but they made him so there's clear lies and deception in the way he's portrayed. They could have even portrayed him as a white man, but not with all the other lies that they put in the picture where you think that he was down around the corner in, I don't know, Richmond Park. But they made him like that because they thought it was very important for their people to see that they are in the Bible and that Jesus is close to them. Like it's mad.
Well, what's interesting is that, was it the second commandment? The graven, we're not meant to have a graven image of God or Jesus anyway. We're not meant to know what he looks like
because it's actually not important.
It's not important.
But it is important.
But it is important because they made it important
Yes,
that he's white,
exactly.
but he actually was black. But
Yeah.
now we're all in a mess.
Now that
We
we're
need to
here,
correct it. Now that we're here,
we might
yeah.
as well correct it.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, actually. I think I said this to Lyndon earlier. Like, I think a lot of people, and this might be slightly off topic, but whatever. I think a lot of people are like, I'm not a Christian because that's the white man's religion, and I've gone so far away. But the gag is Christianity is actually a black religion. Actually, and it's been whitewashed, and I think that's really heartbreaking.
It is. And then you go to the other extreme, where you've got like black Hebrew Israelites and what they believe. And I think sometimes it's like, you know, like that pendulum, like when people have been taught something so wrong for so long, that when they start to seek the truth, they go so far to that side.
Yeah.
And it nearly needs to swing until people find the right medium.
Like equilibrium.
Yeah.
I don't really know what black Hebrew Israelites. I don't really know what they believe, though, to be honest.
So the error. So there's a lot of things that we will talk about that they agree with. So the logic in finding out that Hebrews were black people, all that kind of stuff, we might agree. Where we disagree, and this is a very religious conversation now. Where we really disagree is the fact that they now think that Jesus is only coming back for black people, for black Hebrews.
Really?
Yeah. So literally flipping things on their head, and now
Long conversation I had with someone who was giving me.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, finish your sentence, then I'll ask a question.
No, that was all I wanted to say.
That's what I was going to say.
That's not what Lyndon was going to say.
Oh, shame. Go ahead.
No, I think I was finished. No, I was just saying that. Yeah. So that's the error is that they think that salvation is literally only for black Hebrews, and not even, and they're being very specific. Black Hebrews, not all black people, not all Africans. Black
And
Hebrews.
do you have to identify as a Hebrew, or is it you are born a Hebrew?
Oh, is he born it? So they talk about African Americans, Caribbeans, that kind of stuff.
Rah.
Yeah.
And how do they identify black people?
It's like either you're Hebrew or you're just African, and they don't rate Africans at all.
Wow.
Yeah. So where there's a lot of truth in what they're saying, there's a lot of glaring error that I really can't align myself with, and I
truth mixed with error is error.
Yeah, truth mixed with error is error, and error is Satan's specialty. So
whoa.
He actually specializes in that particular flavor, truth mixed with error.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it grabs you, and then you kind of like go along.
And look what it's doing. Look what it's doing. It's taking people out. Like I said, it's a very religious conversation right now, but whatever. It's taking people out of the church, and then now going into places that find them being more lost than they were before. And I find the people that are black Hebrew Israelites are very angry people.
Oh, really?
I find them to be the ones that are talking on the corner in Harlem or Brooklyn or whatever.
Or Brixton.
Or Brixton. They're angry, and I understand why they're angry because of what they've dealt with. But I don't like how their anger has now turned into something that can turn into a weapon against another person. Instead of teaching someone, it's now a weapon. They really want to do what white supremacists did to us.
Sounds like a second wave of like the Crusades. That's what it sounds like. If they're so angry, that's what you're saying.
I think they
ain't got no military power, so ain't got to worry about that. But.
Yeah, they're just like, we are the, and I think this is where loss of identity, when you've been excluded from the story, when you've been excluded from any conversation, and people have not even recognized to even like say, actually, you are part of this. You have find belonging here as you are, not trying to distance yourself from aspects of who you are that are really like the core of who you are. I think sometimes when you find that identity, you are angry, first of all, that you've been excluded, and you also want everybody else to stay out. Like, this is now mine.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, and I think that's what they found. There's every human being wants to find their identity in Christ, in community, and everything. And I think for so long you felt like you couldn't identify as you are with Christ, and I think now they're just like, no, this is mine, and this is ours, and no others. And you guys have done so much that there's no way I can say you've never included me in yours, so I'm not even going to include you in the conversation in mine.
Yeah, and
I can't see how both of us are going to heaven. Jesus come back for both of us? Not my Jesus.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So it's
so they've forgotten that. So racism was created by white supremacists, right? But we've got to remember, and we can't continue with a black versus white thing, because obviously all of us, again, with this conversation, all of us are literally the same. There's like 0.2% difference in DNA between all of us, right? And 0.1% of that is physical traits. There's a very tiny difference. The fact that there are different colors in this world is just God showing his showing his skills. He's like saying, I'll mix some that's super black, super white, mix that different kind of hair. There's just different diversity in the world. So we need to kind of learn to appreciate the difference, but also love what the skin that you were born in, and don't hate someone because they look different to you. I have pictures of twins, and you have some twins that are born one white, one black. If you can be different colors but be twins, it really shows you how close we all were. We all are in the world. But yeah,
that's a word, Lyndon. So I guess the only question I have left is, who do we think is really responsible for like the whitewashing of biblical history? Because you guys spoke about DreamWorks and the Prince of Egypt, which I still haven't seen. We kind of spoke about the Vatican a little bit, like instructing people on how to treat black people. But like now it's 2020, like who is like responsible for the continuation of it? Because did you guys ever watch The Bible AD on Netflix?
no,
You've never watched it?
definitely don't want to watch that. I bet it's a bunch of white people.
Actually, it's not a bunch of white people. There's a few. Yeah, like so. There's Mary Magdalene is black. Obviously, relax, Lyndon.
That was my thought too.
Yeah.
They don't quit.
Who else is black? Who else is black?
Not that many. Not that many people are black, but there are a few. There's not that many, but there are a few. Samson.
No.
Yeah, it is. No, it's
Oh,
true.
is it that one?
So there's the Bible.
Oh, the Bible done by the History Channel.
Yeah,
I've seen all of that.
Oh, and you've seen the Bible AD. So
No, I haven't. No. So I've seen the first 6 episodes that are on History Channel.
Oh,
the one
on
where they start to
Netflix?
cheese. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that one.
You seen the New Testament version?
No, because it was.
Oh, no, it's good. I watched it. I watched it with Christian.
I don't know about this. See, New Testament, I get a little bit. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't like watching.
Go on, say it.
No, because I don't want it to be included.
Just say it, man.
I don't like watching, especially New Testament or even anything to do with the Bible
I agree with
thing. You know what? I know, but it's for a different reason.
What's the reason for
It's
me?
bad vibes for me because I feel like God always talks like this, and there's always some ominous music in the background, ominous music in the background, like something bad's gonna happen. I don't understand why it has to scream danger all the time. Why
Not so
can't
much.
God talk nicely?
Yeah.
Like even when you go to the Bible website where you can hear it audibly, there's always someone with a really deep voice and it sounds like a villain.
That's definitely a different reason for me.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The New Testament is probably. It's less interesting to me. I don't know why.
All the dramas, yeah.
The drama.
The dramas in the Old
Testament
You know
is
what?
fire.
You know what? I think you guys should watch at least 2 episodes and tell me what you think.
Because you watch too much Netflix. That's why you want drama.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
want killing.
I'm talking about
sensationalism.
No.
Anyway, whatever. I think you guys should watch it. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
Anyway, the question was, we finished now, but the question was more really like, who's responsible for it now? Like, we can talk about DreamWorks, we can talk about the Vatican.
It's a ruling elite, innit? The people who run life, holding, but obviously they have their agents, and these agents have their reasons for keeping it going. I mean, for example, you got people from in the South who they've got a legacy of slavery. They probably have different and complicated feelings towards black people. But it's interesting because the most religious part of America is that same place.
Yeah, it is.
And then also in South Africa, if you go to South Africa, where the most outrageous racists live, they're very, very religious. Surprisingly, I'm like, what is the? And this is the problem. This is why people will look at it and think, okay, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Because these racists are believing the same Jesus I'm believing in. I don't know, something's wrong.
But it's the thing. It's like a vehicle for any it's
a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
It makes a perfect vehicle for any kind of racism or it's perfect for that. So I think thinking of it like separate to what the person is trying to use it for, I think that helps. To think
Stay woke, people.
I can't say that anymore.
The
The woke word has been destroyed.
Slap and clap. I want to ask you guys who you want to slap, but actually what I want to do is ask myself first. So for
Can I say, as you asked me kindly, I'd love to slap Jada because her red table talk has just come out. Her embarrassment and poor excuse of a red table talk has just come out.
Okay, fine.
That's all.
We are here at the Black Table Talk.
Oh yeah,
and we're gonna dissect.
Bringing the truth,
and we're gonna dissect her red table talk because I'm sorry, it was trash.
For trash. In its entirety, trash doesn't belong in the inside bin and the outside bin. It should have never even came into the house.
Also, it confused me because it was 12 minutes. So, do you know what actually was going to happen? I thought it was a trailer, and then they were going to release snippets, but that was the entire thing, wasn't it?
I was hoping for the whole thing. I was hoping for Willow and Jada's mom to be there.
Out.
Let's do this together as a family.
I'm telling you, they all need therapy.
Willow and Jaden didn't want to come because they knew it was going to be trash.
Yeah.
And the person who was recording it, who knew that the episode was supposed to last for 40 minutes.
Yep.
At 12 minutes was like, right, it's a wrap. No, we have no. You're saying the same nonsense over and over again. And Will looked like he was going to cry. We couldn't catch it on camera.
No, Will definitely cried. He definitely cried before.
And after,
he probably cried during and after. Mm-hmm. But I just want to say what I said last week. Hurt people hurt people. And she said something so telling. She was like, there is something inside of me that when I experienced trauma as a child, I want to go and fix other people. And that is a toxic trait.
Absolutely.
And people have to be aware of their toxic, their toxic traits. That's so unhealthy. And for me, it was so sad because Will started the conversation off by saying, Arg, which made me feel very uncomfortable that we're referring to him.
Yeah, still with the nickname.
We need to stop with the nickname and refer to him as Mr. August. Thanks.
That's another scratch.
It's just
if
too
I was
much.
Will,
no, I'm not having it. Arg came to us, and they presented themselves as like people who were coming to help him with his health problems. I had to say, wow, is that what they're calling it?
Did I say that last week that it all seems a bit wrong to me? Definitely not right. And I think also like the fact that she said there's some kind of truth in there, like she said about hurt people. You're saying hurt people, and her past trauma being one of the driving forces of her seeking out someone else who she can help.
And
even last week, remember I said
the boundaries.
Sometimes looking for someone like being hurt.
Yeah.
Presents as actually I'm looking for love, but in actual fact you're actually hurt and you need to deal with it by yourself, and you even said that as well. What I don't like is the fact that it was packaged in this kind of like I did nothing wrong,
very late
back, and I'm okay. Like
lazy
fair.
It's and not really me. It wasn't like Will had to say to yo, what was this? What did you do? It was an entanglement. What did you do? Like for me, if you can't own up to your own ish, there's a problem.
It's like you got stuck in. It's weird because even the word entanglement is like there's very little intention or you taking responsibility for that. It's like you kind of tripped, fell, and found yourself. You're trying to entanglement makes you think of someone who's trying to get free, but they're stuck.
But that's what she thinks.
And you tripped and fell, and you're actually actively trying to get free.
But
so someone's entangled when they're trying to be free and they're stuck.
I think Jada thinks
very
that.
warped. She's still there's something very wrong with her, and I think you can't say that in one hand and in the other hand say, oh, I because of how traumatized I was, I seek out people to love in that way.
Yeah.
So did you seek this person out or did you get tangled by accident?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. Like it's very, very odd behavior for a 48-year-old woman.
She didn't get entangled with him. She ran, leapt, and jumped onto him. That's okay. That's okay. If that's what you want to do, you just have to own it because you're grown. And they explained that they were separated anyway. So to be honest, just own your stuff. I didn't like that. She doesn't seem to be able to take responsibility. And I feel like if you can't take responsibility, you're always going to see yourself as the victim in your own movie, and she's really the villain.
My point of view is this, right? So obviously Jada's trash for this whole thing. All the entanglement and not even really saying that she feels any kind of regret really. Yeah. She's trash for that. But having said that, in the Will Smith household, which brand is more important to protect? It's Will Smith. Yeah. Whose brand is still untarnished? Will Smith.
Because Will did stuff 100%.
None of it was mentioned.
But none of it was discussed.
Because they kind of alluded to it when he said I'm going to get you back.
Yeah.
I just said, I think you've already done that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of it was a little thing in there, but no one really spoke about that. And we still don't know whether it would be a case where he's done stuff and because he did stuff already. But Will Smith is still untouched, really. Everyone's talking about Jada.
His
It's
brand.
true.
His brand.
His brand's in touch, but he looks very hurt.
Yeah.
He looks very hurt.
See, like I mentioned this last, and he could.
I know they're actors. I know they're actors, but I still maintain
his face looked the same. The same face that he made in Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah,
the same face. I've
Maybe
always got
he's
to take
storing from that kind of emotion. What? Like,
all I'm saying is, Will's and his brand could, if they're really real about that whole conversation, they could have ruined his brand. If they're real about it, if they're honest about what happened, it would have ruined his brand.
But the thing
is, they dealt with it.
But this Red Table Talk is not because this Red Table Talk was not about let's bring up everything that's ever hurt us. It wasn't even like I stepped out on you because you stepped out on me. Yeah. It was like we separated.
Yeah.
And I went with August, and we're actually talking about August, and I feel like actually it seems within her nature to want to bring up anything to justify to nearly like throw attention and be like, oh, look at this, and leave herself out of the conversation. You know what's also interesting?
August is still fine.
Yeah.
Like they didn't
because I prayed for him. August, if you ever watch this, I prayed for you because you know what? In this hard life,
all I'm saying is
you need Jesus to walk with you.
No, if you're going to pray for anybody, pray for Angela Yee, because this has all happened because of Angela Yee's conversation with August.
That's an amazing, as an interviewer, that's an amazing interview for you to have done. Charlemagne would have jumped at the opportunity to do that interview, but he wouldn't have taken it that serious. Yeah, I feel like that's an amazing.
No.
Let me finish. I think before we start any kind of fight. Let me just bring it back. We don't have time. I think he would have approached it differently. And I feel like Angela Yee was the right person to do this. Maybe if I'm choosing Charlemagne or Angela Yee, I think she was the right person to do this interview, in my opinion. So it can't be wrong because it's my opinion. Thank you.
I disagree. But okay.
That's all right. But I really feel like all of this, the whole thing, I think that this interview that Jada did was exactly what I expected her to do, to come in here and be like, guys, it's just because, it's a journey and I'm so proud of the journey we've been on. Friend, your husband's on the other side of the table and he doesn't look proud. Nims doesn't look happy or stable. He looks like he's going to cry.
Across the whole world.
Yeah.
And
he's
also,
embarrassed.
let's just remember, I'm going to say it, in my opinion, the victim here is August. Mm-hmm. The victim here is August.
Absolutely.
Because the truth of the matter is, actually, I think he still tries to be very respectful about her.
Absolutely.
And I think he tried to be respectful towards Will. But the truth of the matter is, she said, I wanted to be with somebody and I wanted to feel good again. That's a disrespect.
Why did you, what were you looking for? And said, I
wanted to feel good.
They did start the conversation with Will saying that he was done with her.
Yeah.
They did start.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, she could have said, you know what, I was really looking to find a fulfilling relationship. I wanted to be with somebody who could communicate well. I wanted to feel alive. She said, I wanted to feel good.
I just wanted to feel good.
Babes?
I wonder though.
There's better ways to do it, and there's better ways to do it without leaving collateral damage in your wake.
But she doesn't care.
But August is still in the sunken place. Yeah. Someone needs to care about him.
She actually does not genuinely
What I'm saying
care.
is though, the whole thing was very professionally handled, because at the end of it, all three of them, even Jada, her brand is still intact, to be honest. I mean, they might get some jokes, some hilarious memes, but at the end of the day, she could do the red table.
I'm not trying to hear her talk to anyone about anything.
Yeah, not when you have such toxicity that you are leaving 28-year-old men in the sunken place. I'm not interested. I'm over it.
Actually, to be fair, okay, in my head, the Will Smith brand is all right. But to be fair, I had a conversation with some of the boys earlier, and they weren't impressed with Will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they weren't impressed.
In terms of what he shouldn't have stood for it.
Yeah, he looks a bit weak now. That's what they're saying.
I don't
believe that.
I don't think it's an equal marriage partnership. I think it's very unequal, and I think his love for her is almost toxic, if I'm completely honest. But what do I know? I'm not married. Okay. That's my
Ditto.
I don't know, babes.
Exactly.
Babes, I don't know. I can't help you. Anyway, we're done with them, I think, for now. I know for me, I'm probably not going to be watching the Red Table Talks as intently because, like I said last week, people who are therapists also have issues. People who pretend to be therapists also have issues.
But I think no one, this has really taught me that no one, it's reinforced, not taught me, but it's reminded me that no one is perfect. No one is God. Everybody's human. Just some humans have a PR team. And so they come off like they're perfect, but they really aren't. I think that anyone can fall into any of these issues. I think what I'm disappointed about is that she didn't own it, especially in the business. Her brand is to kind of like, let's have these hard conversations. Let's come to like this kind of understanding. And she's here trying to bring healing to other people. When in actual fact, in her background life, in her private life, she's bringing destruction to other people in the form of entanglement. Yeah.
Hey.
So I don't understand, but you know what? It is what it is. To be honest, I also want to leave it on this note. This is exactly what I said last week when I said I don't find her genuine at all. I actually don't find Will that genuine. I think he plays off a little of humor. And do you know? To be honest, I don't find Oprah genuine either.
Oh, can we leave her out of it, please?
I just want to say, because there's one day that we're gonna have to sit here and have hard conversations about other individuals, and I want people to pull up the tapes. Thanks.
Okay.
On that note,
right.
Lyndon?
I'm slapping somebody random.
We're slapping more people.
Oh my gosh! Every time.
No, we're moving on to claps now, friend. We all shared the slap together.
So I spent all that time looking for the slap for no reason.
Guys, I wish I could show you his diagram.
Friend, please.
He's got annotations, arrows.
What does Missy Elliott say like when she sings her song?
I think there's a lot of swearing in hers. And every time she says something backwards, I think is a swear word or something.
And Lyndon, sorry. Who are you slapping?
Right. Forget it. I'm slapping Jada too. That's who I wanted to slap. Forget it. Let's move on.
No, I want to see your annotations.
No, forget it. Moving on. So, who we clapping?
These men will be doing these. Guys will be doing those particular ones. Will be doing mad things next week too. So don't worry, you'll have another chance to slap them.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Right. Who we clapping?
Okay, first, I want to clap a girl. So I saw her in a TV show, a made-for-Netflix film, which they're not always very good. It was a black terrible movie. So to be honest, probably I watched it because I was like, I'm going to support every black film that comes out on Netflix. Which one was it? Always a Bridesmaid. Oh.
We tried to watch that.
No,
and we got bored halfway through. It's so bad.
It is bad. However,
it's so terrible.
The girl in it, Javisha Leslie, she's been cast as the new Batwoman in the CW's Batwoman season 2. And I just want to say, I think this is the first time on TV that Batwoman on TV. No, right. Batwoman is black. And I'm very excited. So yeah, I want to clap for her because actually she's out here. She's a beautiful black woman, and I really like her hair in this press shot. So yeah, I'm clapping for her.
I mean, I don't have any faith in her acting ability because of that film. That film was the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
No, Lyndon, Lyndon, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not having that. The film about the person who was tall, the tall girl film, is a worse film.
Okay, I'm talking about that film that I watched.
Yeah, you said it's the most boring thing you've ever watched in your life.
Yeah.
No, the tall girl film.
I got to the end of the tall girl film. I didn't get to the end of Always a Bridesmaid.
Always a Bridesmaid. It was bad though. But you know what? They tried to sprinkle in. Do you know what's really sad? You know who it was produced and written by? Yvette Nicole Brown. Right. Another black woman. And I just thought to myself, we've just got to do better.
She's an actress. She's in Community. Right. Yeah. Okay, she's a great actress, but not a great writer.
I guess you've got to start somewhere.
Writing's difficult, man. It's really difficult. You can't just jump into it. So maybe she's trying again. I'm saying, but that film was trash. But congratulations to Javisha. And actually, she's one of quite a few black actresses and actors that I used to watch maybe 8 to 9, 10 years ago when there was nothing on TV for black people, and they're all on web series. Yeah, this is including Issa Rae. Yeah. So Issa Rae. There's the people that are on Dear White People. Mm-hmm. I saw them all on.
They were on TV, like on YouTube shows called like Black and Sexy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So I used to watch Black and Sexy all the time, but they didn't have any jobs. There was nothing for black people. Now they're all coming out here and getting their bag, and I'm congratulations to them. And congratulations to Javisha.
I'll say thank you on her behalf. Angela, who do you want to clap?
So today I'm going to clap Channel 4 and. Channel 4. Channel 4 are releasing a 4-part documentary on the killing of Damilola Taylor, and it's going to coincide with the 20th anniversary of his violent death or violent killing. like these stories, sometimes they, and then they just kind of like, it kind of goes into silence. Like you don't really remember until it comes back on, or people, the general public don't remember. But I think it's good to bring out these things, and also to remind all those British people who are saying that there's no racism here. And a very timely reminder.
Yeah.
Right. And I think also to keep these stories alive, because I feel like, people, they're forgotten. And I think people need to be reminded, and then not just to just be forgotten by society and just go down in, So that's who I'm
So I've changed my mind at the last second who I'm clapping for.
Why? Because of what I said?
No. It just came to me.
You're going to just give me the props there? I didn't know what you said.
He doesn't want to give you props.
No.
I'm gonna clap two people. I was gonna clap Usain Bolt for staying on brand and naming his daughter Olympian Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
It's a great name.
I hope he's trademarked it. But anyway, who I'm really clapping is Tariq Nasheed and the people that do the Hidden Colours stuff. So they did a film a while ago now called 1804, the Haitian Revolution. I watched it a few weeks ago, and there's so much stuff in there that I didn't know before. It was a really good documentary. Every black person needs to watch it.
Haitian history.
Haitian
history has intrigued me for so long. Specifically Haitian.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's mind blowing. So where can you watch it?
Unfortunately, you gotta pay a lot of money to get it. Well, not a lot of money. It's
Where
about
is it, on Amazon?
No, on Vimeo. So you go onto the website.
£19.
Yeah, £90. Because they were selling DVDs. They were trying to sell it outside of Amazon.
Is the £19 going to black creators?
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay, I can stomach that.
I just wanted to watch it. I thought,
I'm
I'm gonna
really snap that up and offer them a decent deal.
You really think that's ever gonna happen?
I mean,
Hidden Colours. Have you ever seen Hidden Colours? Not any white-owned company's ever gonna touch that.
Really?
They're never gonna touch it.
Oh. I can't wait to watch it.
I've never seen Hidden Colours.
Oh, can I have what? You've never seen Hidden Colours? It's an excellent film. I think I cried.
There's five of them. There's five, and then there's the.
Can I clap one more person?
Hold on a second. Let me get the right. There we go. Yeah, 1804, The Hidden History of Haiti, and then www.1804movie.com if you want to watch it, because every black person in the world needs to watch it and understand what's going on and what's been going on.
We'll put it on our Instagram.
Yeah.
How did you find out about it?
I've been following Hidden Colours for a long time. So, I mean,
He stays knowing.
No, I'm following Tariq Nasheed anyway. So I would have known about it.
That was my hand. I hope the mic didn't pick it up. That was actually my hand.
It probably didn't pick it up because you're talking like this. I'm going to do my last clap like Angela. So I just want to clap for this person who I'll say his name, but some people might know him as the person who wore an extremely bad wig in A Fall from Grace, Tyler Perry's film. His name is Makad Brooks. Makad. You know, I'm Northern. It's going to be Makad today.
That clap was definitely inspired by mine.
It was? Yeah, it was. Lyndon, clap for yourself. I told you at the beginning of the podcast I want to clap for you. You didn't take me seriously.
That's how you give someone props. Does it feel good to get props from somebody else?
Continue.
So, Makad Brooks, aka bad wig wearing guy, but he's terrible.
I never watched that film.
Oh, I watched it 3 times and I'm angry.
I don't know how you did that to yourself. That's
torture. It was Sophie's fault and I'm angry, but anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. So he did an 8-minute Instagram TV about Haiti, and I knew a little bit, but I didn't have any idea. Everybody needs to go and watch it. It's definitely worth 8 minutes of our time. And he talks about independence debt, and he talks about why Haiti is the poorest country in the world. And again, this is also it's like a history lesson for every person, actually people who are black or people who aren't black, but more so people who aren't black, who say, why can't countries in Africa or the Caribbean, why are they so poor? It's just mismanagement of money or corruption. It's actually because you stole our country, then you made us pay for our independence, and it was so large they had to keep paying for it, especially Haiti, because the French government just don't give 2 Fs. They're not interested in giving any money back, even though they only recently finished receiving money from Haiti for their own independence, the country that they stole. It's just really interesting. So I want to give him a clap, because I was thinking, is he Haitian? I don't think he is. I think he's just down for the culture.
Yeah, we got to keep making noise about this reparations thing, because we're never going to get it unless we taught their ear off. and some other stuff as well. But I'm not going to talk about that. We need to. We need it. It's old. Make everything equal again. Just gotta pay me $300 billion.
Oh, I'll gladly have that. Thanks.
Can I just say it doesn't actually make anything equal, but it just puts a dent into.
Yeah.
A
dent.
Yeah, I just want it though. So.
I just want to shout out the person who, like about 4 years ago, someone sat me down and gave me a history lesson on in Haiti, and I remember having a long conversation that took hours. We were sitting down talking for a long time, and I can't remember who that person is. But if you're watching today, I just want to clap for you. I really struggled to figure out who that was.
It was me.
No, it wasn't. It was about like 5 years ago. I didn't know you then.
Sorry.
But
You're apologizing for not knowing you.
Yeah.
That person really sparked an interest in. I think I'd asked something about Haiti, and they really.
Yeah, man.
We all, you know what? We just need to do better as Black people. Like, we just need to do better, research better, and really understand our history.
It's kind of our fault, but it kind of isn't, because obviously you think that you're taught, what you need to know if you're at school. These things are left out. These massive gaps are left out.
Yeah, but
you learn about Napoleon and Waterloo, but you're not going to learn about what Napoleon was doing in Haiti.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's all, folks.
That's it.
Can you?
That's what I was going to say.
Go for Angela.
Can you follow us? Thanks.
Follow us.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us.
Tell a friend.
Watch the videos. Listen to the podcast on Spotify or iTunes or wherever. Just do it and tell your friend.
And when we say follow us, we mean especially, and I don't think only, because you guys people might actually want all other followers, but specifically Black No Filter.
Oh yeah, that's what we mean. That's what we mean.
Black No Filter. Follow us. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Go ahead, YouTuber. We sound like we are. Can you follow us, please? Follow us for your own good. How about that?
We won't release the next episode until we get.
Let's not say that. Let's not say that, please.
All right, I'm done.
We are done.